Hello. It's time for yet another big fish tier list. This time, let's activate our weeb muscle and go through the big fish of Stormblood. Recap of all the tiers, just in case you're dropping in here from wherever that is not from the start of the tier list videos. D tier is for the fish that are generally always available, don't have any special conditions for getting them, or they're just so incredibly easy that I just want to put them in D tier out of spite. C tier is for fish that are generally really easy and you usually get them on first try when you go to the fishing hole. Not on the first bite, but you know, for the first window you go to, you usually get them. Pretty forgettable. B tier is generally for fish that are sometimes require you to take multiple windows. For some people, my B tiers might be A tiers and my B tiers might be C tiers. Kind of depends. But they generally shouldn't be like a terrible time. A tiers are just like the time when you realize that you're in way over your head. It's not a good time. They're just gonna bully you, and it's like the point where big fishing gets frustrating. S tier, as we've discussed before, you know, is the S as in sadistic. It's just makes you question, like, why would anybody enjoy this? And there will be those people who will claim to enjoy it, but it's because they are crazy. It's like, if S... No, actually. Why does it do it like this? Well, you get the point. It's S as is Stockholm Syndrome. It's because they've been stuck here for like years without getting a fish, and they're like, oh, actually, I kind of love this. No, don't trust them. They're lying. There's nobody who enjoys the S-tier fish. If anybody ever tells you otherwise, they're being paid. They're a paid actor. They're an NPC. They're not a real person. Everybody hates the S-tier fish. That's an unquestionable fact. But let's get to it. Yatkan, I have no memory of whatsoever. Garden Skipper, same thing. Moksha is C tier. Gumblore, I think this is a D tier fish. I think it's always available. I actually took a little bit with the Argonautica. It took me like 3-4 windows to get it. I don't think... No, Lily of the Veil is in this here, if I don't remember wrong, but there was another. Yeah, this one, the little Pericos. For some reason the tracker shows that it's from expansion 4, not 4.0, 4. And for some reason you get it in the ARR region, so I'm guessing that it was misplaced there. But I'm gonna put it into B tier. You get it in like Costa del Sol, if I don't remember wrong, and you can also pull a Chocobo minion in the waters, so that sort of makes up for the fact that it can be a little bit tough to pull. Also keep in mind, this is one of those glitched out fish that don't have a 3 size exclamation mark when it bites, so when you get a long bite that comes up with 2 exclamation points, it's more likely to be this one than anything else. So don't get confused if you don't get those 3 biters. However, if you do get a 3 biter, it could be the Chocobo minion, so you know, you always win a little bit when you go fishing for this thing. Suiten Ipeki. Let's put it into B tier. It's rare. It's really rare. It's not available a lot. But when it is, it's not super hard to get. Watcher Catfish, pretty forgettable. Drinapsipsis goes together with the Bone Splitter, who is a C tier. Basically what you do is you have to catch 2 of these, and that activates Fisher's Intuition, and then you can catch this. Now, this is like a practice run to the nightmare that is the Lancet Fish. We're going to talk about that in the Shadowbringers part of this tier list, but this one is really easy in comparison with that, so don't get intimidated if you've already encountered the Lancet Fish before. Archbishop, very easy. The Xenacanthus actually took me a while to get. For some reason it just wouldn't come up, because you have to catch it alongside one of these guys, the Hardhead Trout. And the Hardhead Trout is actually, let's put Xenacanthus into A tier. Hardhead Trout was, it just would not come up for me. And then when it comes up, then you have to mooch throw it into the water, and then the xenacanthus is there, and it's always going to bite into this, and when it bites, it's not going to come up because it sucks. It takes a while to get this one. You can put it into an aquarium though, and it's very big, which is cool. Duskfish is basically the same as the Sweeten Ippeki in the sense that it's really rare. So keep your eyes open and keep this guy as a high priority. Nehama's Treasure, semi-rare as well. It's in the same puddle with the Unconditional, who is basically a practice fish for the Ilatskan, which is going to be a bad time. Unconditional is rare, sometimes even like once a week fish. It's only available for 1 Erzurian time hour, which is, I think, 180 seconds, which can be intimidating, but it's not a scan, so don't get super traumatized with it. It might take you multiple windows and it might frustrate you, but it's not an absolute nightmare, at least in my opinion. Last tier might have been one of those fish it's one of these salamander looking things that is in one of those housing areas. I don't remember which one. Actual Rod, C tier. Hagoromo Bijin, C tier. Pinhead, also C tier. The Ruby Dragon. This is going to be, if you go in order, this is going to be the first fish that you're going to encounter that takes sometimes over 2 weeks to even spawn. Really bad time. What you have to do with it is you need to first pull a Kur, which is already a B tier fish. Sometimes they just don't feel like being friendly with you. You have to first catch a Kur, who is a big fish, and then you have to mooch it, and then you have to get Ruby Dragon to bite, who has a really low pull rate, and then you have to pull the Ruby Dragon successfully from that, and the window that you have to try for this is really short. So this is going to probably be a menace to a lot of fishers, and it is one of the 3 worst fish in the game right now. The game is currently in Endwalker 6.28 as I'm making this video, so I haven't seen what Nightmares Endwalker brings. I'll make an Endwalker tier list after I catch all the Endwalker fish once Endwalker is complete. But for now, Ruby Dragon is one of the 3 worst fish in the game, and it's a bad time. This is going to make a lot of people angry. I caught the Ruby Dragon. So I had this fishy friend who invited me to come fishing for the Ruby Dragon. I didn't know what it was. I was still like a very beginner when it came down to big fishing, and I didn't know what the Ruby Dragon was. I was still fishing in ARR. It was like one of my first 50 fish or something like that. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. I caught the Nepto Dragon, so I'm pretty good at fishing. I'll come to Ruby Dragon with you. So we go fishing for the Ruby Dragon. He tells me that he's been trying for it for 6 months and hasn't got it. And I was like, oh, well, that's very reassuring. I throw in the bait. Kur bites. I pull the Kur successfully. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I throw the Kur in. Ruby Dragon bites. I pull it. And I'm like, is this really that hard? I know that I'm a part of the problem. But if you had a really easy time with one of the really hard fish, don't be a piece of shit to your friends and be like, God, you guys just suck at the game. It's RNG. The fishing is RNG. It's got nothing to do with your skill. It's just how well the goddesses of luck favor you. Sometimes they don't. And I was very favored with the Ruby Dragon, but as we discussed on the Heavensward tier list, I was very not I paid my price with the sea butterfly. I had a terrible time with the sea butterfly, and even to this point of making this tier list, I have still not caught the Cinder Surprise and the Elatskan from Shadowbringers. So I don't have the big fish title yet, but I figured that I'm gonna make the tier list now that I still remember all of these fish, because it might take me like a year to get the to get the Cinder surprise as well, which I'm really not looking forward to. Anyway, Banderole is I'll say it's a B tier because its name starts with a B, but the second letter is an A, so it could very well be an A tier for some people. Very rare. It's basically the same as the Duskfish, where it's really, really rarely available. And even if it bites, it's not guaranteed to pull, so it can sometimes be a pain. Hagoromo Koi, I have no memory of you. Pomegranate Trout, I remember it being really easy. Blade Skipper was also rare, but not anything to really write home about. Princess Killifish, I remember this one was in the housing area of Shirogane. Undecided was easy. Bloodtail Zombie was pretty easy to Hemon. I don't remember at all. Rakshashashasha. I had a really easy time with it, but it looks very intimidating, so I don't know if it's hard or not. Unraveled Bow. So after ARR is over, these guys are no longer a problem, so don't be intimidated by its ferocious look. A Bokuden is so easy that I'm gonna put it into D tier. Hermit's End, C tier, really easy to forgo. Rising Dragon is one of those always available guys. Vegetarian, I'm honestly more than willing to put into S tier. I know a lot of people have a lot of trouble with this thing. It is frustrating. It has a short time that it's available, and it bites onto a fish that is not common in the fishing hole. The fish tracker tells you to use live shrimp as the bait, if I don't remember wrong. I personally actually used the blue bobbit. I feel like it was much more likely for the ruby shrimp to bite onto it. Obviously, because the fish tracker is based on Teamcraft, which is based on user data, which is based on only users who have a particular mod or plugin installed into the game. So the sample sizes for all the fish are really, really small. So don't trust the statistics completely. Sometimes experimentation is good. I got the vegetarian much more easily with the blue bobbit bait. So if you're having trouble with it, maybe consider trying that. I won't vouch for it, but I personally had a much easier experience with that. Sapphire Fan is not tough. Winter Queen was rare, I think, but it's not hard to pull. Corpse Chub, completely unmemorable. Hook Stealer, I think this one was always available. 7 stars, also really rare, but once you can get it to bite, it's usually easy to get. The Word of God was very simple. Diamond Eye is going to frustrate you, and it's going to make you hate a fish called Pearl Eye. Stentocanthus, another reason to hate the Pearl Eye, has a very complicated system to get to it. It could even be an S tier for a lot of people, I'm sure. But basically, you have to get a Fisher's Intuition from catching 2 of these fish called the Sculptor. And they are a rather rare fish that you can pull at. They only bite onto a mooch off of like a salty rockfish or something like that. And they bite only after 20 seconds. The trick was to use double catch or double hook after 20 seconds has passed. But even if it has passed, it's still most likely going to be just a Pearl Eye, which is going to be really, really frustrating, and you're going to definitely go to multiple windows with this one, unless you're really lucky. A bad time. Bad time. Usually, if the fish has a unique sprite, it means that, like, if there's no other fish anywhere in the game that has this particular sprite, it means that it's a bad time. Warden of the Seven Hues. Let's put it into A tier. Warden of the Seven Hues is much more a test of, like, it's technically speaking always available, so it could even be a D tier fish if we're really cruel about it. I know that a lot of people think that it's like, oh, it's really tough. Not really. It's just that it requires a lot of prep work, because it requires you to catch like 6 or something like that, 6 fish to initiate its Fisher's Intuition. And 2 of those are available like once every hour, and 1 of them is available about once every 3 hours. So sometimes you have to sit at the fishing hole for like 3 hours to be able to even try for it. But generally speaking, once you get its Fisher's Intuition active, your maybe a 40% chance, 40 to 60% chance to successfully pull it, which is not terrible. And it doesn't bite like insanely rarely either. It's just a matter of if you have the patience to sit at the same fishing hole for 3 hours. Which I know a lot of people don't have the patience for, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. So don't be intimidated, even if your fishy friends tell you otherwise. If you have the patience for it, you can do it. I believe in you. I don't believe in this guy though, because I have no idea who they are. But yes, this concludes my Shadow Blood Stormblood big fish tier list. I hope it offends you personally to a very deep level. And I guess that's it. I'll see you in Shadowbringers. I wish I didn't have to, but we'll see there. We'll see there. God, no. Anyway, bye-o.